I can see his reflection like on the side over there in that window. I think it's me.
Oh, and you
But
keep
I'm
wondering
wearing
what,
glasses.
and then nobody can see anything in these.
Oh, yeah.
That still really freaks me out. I could use those at my house. Okay, I'm going to share my screen finally. I've got it. Okay, you can join our Zoom session. Should be all set. Now, for us today, we're going to be looking at the Word chapter, Module 2, that talks about creating like a report with references and sources. So we're going to look at all the different ways we can include references and sources in our Word document. And I'm going to start out with this practice SAM textbook project. So I'm on week 9, Word 2. I want the Word 2 practice SAM textbook project. Now remember, when we open this, I'm not in student mode, so my screen is going to look different than yours. But I want you to go ahead and start that application activity and download the starting document. Now I'm going to download the solution file so we can all see what it is supposed to look like. And then I'm going to download the starting document to hopefully be with you. Now here's our solution. So we're starting out, this one is going to be kind of ugly. It's not a very well formatted document like our last one. We just have this report that Oswald has done for his English class. And in the end, we want to have all of our different sources properly referenced. So here's a source, number 1, where it's got the information down at the bottom of the page. And then there's some sources that are listed in paragraph or in parentheses. And there's a works cited page or a bibliography at the end. What's it? It's just blank.
Mine's still blank.
Is you guys all blank too? Or are you getting cameras? You're blank?
Yeah,
They're all blank? They're all blank. Okay, well, if they're all blank, then we're good. Let's see what my starting thing is.
This way. Oh, it's just there.
So you guys are getting a new document. Even though you're getting a new document, notice that that name of your new document, that it should have your name included in there, in that file name. So it should say new Microsoft document, and then like your first name and your last name. Mine just says first, last name, but yours should actually have your name in it. And then you know you've got the correct download document. Does everything look good? We got them. So we're going to create this awesome research paper for this person. Whenever I double click to open this document, I just clicked down at the screen where my download files were. I could have, of course, opened Word and done a file open, done all of those kinds of things. Either way is fine. I want to go back and show you that finished document, if I can, because there's a couple of things in there they want us to sort of look at. I'm going to go to my downloads folder and find it. So first of all, we have some different documentation styles whenever we're inserting sources in papers and research. And you guys know, you can have one teacher that wants it in MLA format and another that wants APA format. We have these different styles or different standards for how to note sources. Whenever we're looking at this particular document, we're going to try some different types of noting sources, but we'll be sticking a lot with the MLA style. So they want us to look here, and let me find it. Up at the top, we have the header that has the last name followed by their page number. Inside the document, we have right here where this TU is, if you can see that up here. I know you don't have this finished one, but this is a parenthetical source where it's just displayed in parentheses. And so we have lots of different ways that we can be required to specify our sources. So just be aware of that as we're going through. Sure. Let me get this one closed. And I'll zoom way in and we'll see how that looks as we get started. So with our blank document here, we want to make sure that we've got all our settings the way that we want them to be. Maximize your window. My window is maximized, and then I zoomed in a little bit. If the print layout button on your status bar is not selected, click it so that your screen is in print layout form, and that's one of the ones down here. We want to make sure we're in print layout so that we're all looking at it the same way. Then up in the ribbon, in your toolbar, where the styles are listed, we have all these different styles that come preloaded in Word. We want to make sure that we have clicked on the normal style and that we're not off doing something unusual. They'd like us then to display the View tab. I'm going to look at View here. And they say to display the page the same width as the document window, if necessary, you can click the Page Width button. Zoom group. Do you see it? Page width. And you can just zoom. Mine, I was already kind of scrolled out, zoomed out so far that I was already kind of displaying a page width. But don't forget, if Word isn't showing you things in the way that you would like, you can change these settings. The last setting they would like for us to change is on the Home ribbon. They want us to set those document formatting symbols to be showing, so that we're seeing all of those formatting symbols. Now, whenever we first start with Word and we're working with a style, that style is something that's been preloaded, predefined for us. Whenever we're working with MLA style, we're supposed to have things all in a 12-point Times New Roman or similar font. So we could actually change the font and font size buttons on the ribbon, but we'd have to make that change many times over and over, because every time Word formatted a different area of our document, we would have to go back and recheck that. So instead of changing the font and font size for various document elements, a more efficient thing for us to do is just change the normal style for this document. So we don't want to change the normal style for our computer for every use of Word. We just want to change the normal style for this particular document so that we can make sure the default is 12 point. So we want to right-click normal in the Styles gallery. Here it is. Right-click it. Now notice when you right-click that you have a lot of options. If I already had some text typed, I could update the normal style to match the text that I already had typed and had selected. But we don't have anything, so let's modify. Now what we want to modify is we want our font size to always be 12. And they want us to pick Times New Roman as our font. So I'll go find that. Of course, you could type a T and get down to the T's. Find my awful old Times New Roman. Now, before we do anything else, we want to make sure that the checkbox is checked or the radio button is clicked down here to say only in this document. We don't want new documents based on this normal template to be updated, just this one. So I'm going to click OK there. And now, forevermore, in this particular document, if we choose normal, it should be a 12-point font with Times New Roman. So that can be super, super handy for us depending on what we're doing. Now, line spacing and paragraph spacing also are things that we might want to update. A lot of times when we're using Word and other word processing tools, we'll do a lot of typing and then think, oh, I need to update my line spacing, or I need to update my paragraph spacing. But if we set it before we start, then we have a lot less work to do in the long run, right? So line spacing is the amount of vertical space between lines. Paragraph spacing is the amount of space above and below a paragraph. By default, that normal style gives us 8 points of blank space after each paragraph, and it inserts a vertical space equal to 1.08 lines. So just a little bit taller than what one of our lines would be. It also automatically adjusts the line height to accommodate various font sizes and graphics. Now, our MLA documentation style requires that you double space the entire research paper. So we need to specify a document use of double space. So let's click the line and paragraph spacing button on the right place. I'm on the Home tab. There's my line and paragraph spacing button. And I want to open it to go to my line spacing options, or I could just change things here. We want our spacing to be changed to 2. That's all we need to change there. And then we want to check on removing spaces after our paragraph. So I'm going to choose remove space after paragraph. Now that should get our spacing set to this MLA required style. So there's a lot of things we have to do to meet that requirement. Now, if you had already typed some text in your document, again, you could update that normal style to meet that requirement, or to just be the same as that text that you already have. Now we want to add some headers and footers in this particular document. So how do I add a header? Insert header. How else could I add a header? That's good. How else could I do it?
Can't you double click up at the top?
I could double click up at the top. Is there any other ways? That's enough, right? We'll use this insert header option. Now, when I use the insert header, it's going to give me the option for some preloaded header formats. If I double click up there in the header area, I'm just going to have to type in what I want my header to be all by myself manually. So a little bit difference there in how we can enter this information. As you're looking in the built-in headers, if you click down here, or you use your wheel, of course you can scroll through all of the different ones that are available. And I'm trying to see which one they want us to find. They want us to scroll to look at all of them. And in the end, they don't like any of them. So they want us to just edit our header ourselves, which in the end is the same as double clicking. So what do we want to add as our header? We want to put that page number sorry, there's a lot of extra text here. It says that I can just click on my home tab. I want to insert my right alignment. All right, sorry. It makes us do a lot of different steps for some of these little things. So how can I right align this header? Right now I'm looking at that paragraph symbol, that big P. And I could right align this text by clicking my right align right option, and I'll see that text, that paragraph mark, move over to the right. So now I know that I'm aligned to the right. Now after Control R and align to the right, that would work too. Now that we are aligned to the right, we want to type in our last name because that was the first part, right? So we want every page to have a header of our last name followed by the page number. So now my insertion point is sitting here a space past my last name. So I want to insert that page number. So I'll go to my insert ribbon and find my page number tool and insert my page number. Now I want to insert this page number at my current position, and I want it to just be this simple plain number. So now I should see that page number after my name in my heading. Now as we get this document set up, like I mentioned before, this is an important point for us because once we've got it set up, we shouldn't have to worry about it at all as we create our research paper. Okay, that did it. We got a plain number, page number inserted in there. So now every page we create in our document, we should have our last name followed by our page number up at the top. As we type our research paper, we're going to be adding in some information that will require some headers. We always want to acknowledge all of our sources and not plagiarize. So sources of research could include books, magazines, newspapers, and the internet. And Word is going to give us the option to save information about all of those different kinds of sources pretty easily so that we don't have to do it all manually. Could do it all with note cards, all those great things. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do then is get our paper header set up. So we're going to enter our name and course information. So MLA doesn't require a separate title page for research papers. Some types require a separate title page. But for MLA standards, we're going to place our name and course information in a block at the top of the page, right below the header at our left margin. So the following steps are going to enter the name and the course information in our research paper. So I want to leave this header. How could I leave this header? Close header. How else? Double click in the body. Either one of those are great. Let's try it. So I want to be over here left aligned, and I want to type in our information about our paper. So we have Oswald Carter. The teacher is Ms. Ruiz. The class is English 104. And then the date. Now we could enter today's date, but we better follow along with what they want, which is pretty close, just a year ago. So we're actually creating this just a few days before today, for October 10th. Now when I press enter one last time, notice my insertion point is sitting down there with that last paragraph mark, ready to type some more information. The next task that we have is to enter the title of the research paper. And we want our title to be centered. So we use the center button in our first activity, but we could also do other things. So let's try it. Let's just click and type. What we want our title to be is safely using headphones and earbuds. Awesome. So now I've got it typed there. And then I'm just going to go to my home screen and click center. I can still center even though I've already typed it. Now, if I press enter again, my alignment, my insertion point is going to stay centered. That's fine. We talked about all these different keyboard shortcuts, but they have a bunch of them in your text this chapter. And you could do Control L to go back to be left aligned. Let's save our research paper using the file name that you were already assigned. So let's just save it. Mine is still in my downloads folder, which isn't a very good place, but that's all right. I don't think anything's going to happen to this computer in the meantime, but we could have something happen. I would like to be able to judge how big my stuff is because I'm all zoomed way in and I can't tell. I'd like to be able to see the rulers. How could I see the rulers on Word?
Layout.
Is it layout? Layout kind of shows information that's dependent upon the rulers. What about view? Usually if I want to change what I'm looking at, I'm going to go to that view tab. It's just kind of a starting place because we know things can be hidden all over. But on our view tab there we see the option to display the rulers. So I can click on that and that's going to help me a lot because I'm not going to use Word very much without the rulers displayed. What's the grid lines? What does that mean? Have you ever turned it on? It's really ugly. So it gives you a nice grid sheet if you need that, but we don't really see that very often. Now, the other thing that you could turn on is a navigation pane. I just want to show it to you because we're here. They won't use it probably for a while, but with our navigation pane, we could just look at the different pages in our document over here on the side, and we'd be able to click on those different pages to move our cursor position to those pages. So if we have a document that's many pages long, that navigation page can be really helpful. I'm going to turn it back off though for this short document that we have. So not too much. Now, when we're looking at our ruler, notice some things about it. The ruler shows the edge of your margins, your left margin and your right margin. The vertical ruler over here on this side doesn't really show you a lot of margins on the bottom if you notice because I'm so zoomed in, but you can tell you can see that top margin. We also see that our mouse pointer is changing position or changing style because we could actually move those positions on the ruler to affect where our margins and borders are. So you can always use those if you want. So let's take a look at our very first line here. How could we use the ruler to indent just the first line? When you look at the margin area of the ruler, notice the icon is split into 3 items. The top triangle is the first line indent. The lower triangle is the left indent, and the bottom square position is the left indent of the line altogether. So if I just want the first line to be indented, like some research papers are, I'm going to click on that top triangle to just grab it, and I'm going to try to move just that first line indent over. So for us, we want that first line indent marker to be at 0.5 on the ruler. So I need to go a little further. That looks good. Now that's going to give me an indented first line in the paragraph. So I think we're ready to type our first line. Let's see. We are. Okay, so we have a long one. People often listen to sound from their computers or portable devices through headphones or earbuds. Now notice as Word automatically went to a new line that the next line was not indented because we said we just wanted a first line indent. So it can be very, very helpful for us depending on what kind of formatting is required. Now I want to add a little bit more. Word has predefined many commonly misspelled words which it automatically corrects for you. So at the beginning of the next sentence, let's intentionally misspell the word the. So I'm going to have headphones are or cover or are placed outside of the, and they want us to spell it like T-E-H. I normally spell the that way, so Word always helps me by fixing it. Now when I space past that, Word is going to automatically correct that misspelled word. Now sometimes we'd like for our word to be misspelled. We get mad at Word for correcting it all the time. So what can we do about that? Just feel easy. If we type it again, spelt wrong, Word will leave it alone. But we can also go find the settings and options of Word to change some of that autocorrect option. Now we want to, though, continue with the rest of our sentence. So headphones cover or are placed outside of the ear, comma, whereas earbuds rest inside the ear canal, period. Okay, so our first couple of sentences there look pretty good.
Gmail on the computer has started putting in text prediction and autocorrect. It's rather annoying.
It's really annoying at first, and it'll probably be like Word
I
where it'll
don't
take a
mind-
while.
I don't mind the spell correction. I can't stand the auto prediction.
Well, what we can do is with Word, sometimes it does things like that where you don't really like what it's doing, but we can actually change the autocorrect and we can add new options here. So I'm going to select my the, and let's see what they want us to do here for me to show you how. Just blah, 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 blah. Do you see that little teeny box below the word the? That little bitty blue box? That's because Word automatically auto-corrected it. So I don't know if you can see it, if you even notice it, but that is showing us that this word, the, has been auto-corrected by Word. So what I can do is use that little box to look at the autocorrect options that Word has set. So I'm going to navigate so that that button shows up and click on it. Now, when I click on it, I could change that back to TEH if I wanted to. I could stop automatically correcting TEH, or I could control the autocorrect options. Let's take a look at them. I'm going to choose Control Autocorrect Options. Now, when you look at controlling these autocorrect options, we have a lot of things that we could do here. We could actually create our own entry. So for me, Word went ahead and created one for me, I guess, because I spell my name wrong so often. Isn't that awful? But I think a lot of people do it because I've had a lot of students say that. I'm sorry, I always spell my name wrong. I do when I type it because I just type it so often that I kind of leave out that middle E. And so Word has actually added an autocorrect entry for me. I could have gone and done that on my own and added an entry. So I could replace something. So if I wanted to replace, this is another one I do, where I end up with my first and second letter in my first name capitalized. I could replace that with Renee with the right capitalization. And then I can add that autocorrect to Word. So that's just going to be added to the autocorrect database for this computer. It wouldn't exist on another computer that I might use using Word. But another word that I tend to spell wrong a lot is Springfield. It can be kind of long. So I'm usually pretty consistent about what letter I leave out. So I could create an autocorrect option for that if I wanted to, and just always keep track of that so that I wouldn't be typing it wrong all the time. So autocorrection is just awesome. Lets us even correct everything that causes us trouble. Let's add in a little bit more text and then we'll stop for today. So looking at our document that we have so far, I'd like to add just a little bit more. And then we'll be able to do some formatting with it next time. With these listening devices, comma, only the individual wearing the device hears the SOULD. Let's leave that as typed wrong. We'll fix it on our own next time. Using headphones or earbuds improperly can lead to permanent hearing loss. Items that may protect hearing include quality of these devices and volume levels. And I like that with our word studies, they're trying to teach us some other things that are important in working with computers about sound. And I would disagree with them. I've heard lots of students had phones where they were not limited to just that person. That person's probably going to have some hearing difficulties. So great. You'd be able to hear superhuman hearing powers. That gets us through a lot of this one, but we haven't got to actually keeping track of any of our references or sources because of all the other things we're looking at, but we should be able to move through those pretty quickly next time and get this thing done so that Friday you guys can work on setting up a business and starting to make some money. So let's save this. Make sure it's in a location you can find it to work on it next time. And get out of here, and I will see you on Wednesday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It got winter.